A ghost airplane landed after 37 years from being mysteriously disappeared. What really happened to Flight 914? In July 1955, Pan Am Flight 914 left New York City Airport en route to Miami. However, the flight never came to Florida. Without conveying a troubled transmission or abandoning even the smallest piece of wreckage, the plane and its 57 travelers apparently evaporated immediately and inexplicably as the years passed with next to no indication of a missing plane. However, at that point 37 years after the fact, the unthinkable occurred. One morning in 1992, and an air terminal in Venezuela, air traffic regulators were continuing on ahead when they saw something exceptionally bizarre. Despite the fact that their radars showed a vacant sky, they could plainly see a plane throwing toward the runway. As it got closer, they saw that this plane was outdated and propeller-driven, a model that hadn't been utilized in years. Air traffic regulator promptly connected with the pilot and requested that he recognize the secret plane. The pilot answered that this was Flight 914 prepared to land in Miami. When one informed him this was an air terminal in Venezuela, the pilot was frightened. He voyaged 1,200 miles from his objective, and things were going to get significantly stranger when the plane landed. Witnesses could see travelers squeezed facing the windows wearing unusually dated dress and gazing in disarray at the cutting-edge airplanes on the landing area. Long quietness. Juan's radio popped in a pony voice. The pilot of the secret plane requested that he affirm the date. He let him know it was May 21, 1992. As he talked, he could hear the pilot breathing quick, obviously bothered. Minutes after the fact, the pilot flung open the cockpit window and started wildly waving away for the ground group. He shouting that he expected to leave. As he waved his arms, something overwhelmed down from the clipboard. He grasped in one hand, yet before anybody could respond the plane was moving. The airplane team watched in shock as only a short time after it had worked out, the secret airplane dashed off down the runway. Prior to climbing away high up, One got down to the landing area and got the record that had tumbled from the pilot's clipboard. To his shock, he saw that it was a schedule dating from 1955. In the consequence, flying officials had the option to deduce that this unforeseen runway guest was to be sure the baffling Flight 914 that had vanished, harking back to the 50s, yet even after a careful examination that they couldn't comprehend the plane's unexpectedly appearance, and concerning the actual plane, it was gone forever. So how might we make sense of the time-traveling plane? The most famous hypothesis among fanatics of this enticing story is that the plane coincidentally entered a wormhole through reality, shipping it elsewhere 37 years into the future. In the event that you feel that sounds insane, it's important that the logical speculations of researchers like Albert Einstein and Stephen Pedling numerically support the possibility that wormholes might actually exist, a spacetime twisting easy route through the universe that interfaces with far-off marks of room or potentially time to assemble. Well, nobody's completely certain the way in which a wormhole could appear, nor has anybody at any point really saw on, or perhaps it's the Bermuda Triangle, as there were planes and ships vanished in the Bermuda Triangle. Might this hypothesis at any point make sense of the secret of the time-traveling plane? For reasons unknown, the genuine clarification doesn't need confounded physical science to figure out. That is on the grounds that, sadly, the narrative of Dish M Flight 914 is truly a one-of-a-kind piece of phony news. First coursed by the week-by-week World News in 1985, this newspaper was famous for creating mind-blowing stories to sell papers, including the narrative of a child brought into the world with a wooden leg and the fanciful story of a man who sued himself after he was hit by his own boomerang. As a matter of fact, the tale of Flight 914 stirred things up during the 80s, that the newspaper truly ran it 2 times more. In 1993 and in 1999, it before long turned into a metropolitan legend circled online by trick scholars as proof of time travel. Flight 914 ended up being a deception.